is every bet I placed at UFC Shanghai. Now, before I get into the bets, there are a lot of them. Okay, I might be accused of being a degen, but this card is taking place at 3 a.m. local time for me. So if Dana White is going to have me wake up for this card, I'm going to be betting it. I'm going to try to make some money. Now, with that out of the way, let's quickly recap UFC 319. We were positive 8.79 units. If you tailed every play in the video last week, you would be profitable just like me. I had a comment that said, oh wow, you must be broke now. Well, no one's broke here. We're positive units and we're gonna keep the streak going for Shanghai. First off, let's discuss the fights that I will not be betting. The first one, it's a funny one. It is the main event. Johnny Walker, Ming Yang Zhang. I can't bet Ming Yang Zhang round 1 KO. That's steamed, minus 120. And I can't really take a dog shot on Johnny Walker. So at that point, I'm just going to enjoy the cinema. I don't really know what to bet if I don't have Johnny Walker picked. So Loner Kavanaugh and Charles Johnson. I have Loner Kavanaugh by decision picked. I am not that confident to put Loner into a parlay, to prop bet Loner Kavanaugh. Not really feeling it. I also don't want to do a long shot on Charles Johnson like round 3 KO. So these two fights couldn't find a good read, so we're not going to be betting them. First fight we're betting, though, is Taiyilake Nueraji taking on Uran Satybaldiev. In this fight, I have Satybaldiev to win by submission. That prop is just not available. The props for this fight are just not there. So with that being said, we're going to be taking Uran Satybaldiev in a parlay. We're taking his money line minus 142. I just think he's better everywhere than Taiyilake. Maybe the power, Taiyilake has the advantage, but takedowns, grappling, size, that's all Uran. Next fight we're betting is Long Xiao taking on Su Young-Yu. In this fight, I have Long Xiao to win by decision, and the bet is going to be Long Xiao moneyline plus 106, 1.2 units on that. I am concerned that this is one of those weird, like, Chinese decisions where they just grapple and they're attached to each other for 13 of the 15 minutes. I understand Long Xiao is going to be the better striker, so I do think he will win. And Su Young-Yu is a grappling merchant. Long Xiao has showed good takedown defense in his fight so far, but I am scared that they just hug each other for 15 minutes, and then at that point, I'm just trusting the Chinese judges to pick the Chinese fighter to win. I think Long Xiao is the better fighter, but this could play out tricky. Next fight we're betting is Yiza taking on Westin Wilson. My pick in this fight is Westin Wilson to win by submission. I think the line is way too wide to take Yiza, to parlay Yiza. Yiza's sub prop is minus 200. I'm not doing that. Yiza's KO prop plus 300. That is interesting. If you were to turn a minus 1200 into a plus 300, you could take Yiza by KO. With all that being said, I'm taking Westin Wilson. I'm putting a half unit on his money line plus 790, and I'm putting a half unit on his sub plus 1500. I think Yiza's going to shoot takedowns, and once it's on the ground, Westin Wilson, I mean, anything can happen once it's on the ground. So this could look really stupid, but at the end of the day, I'm only putting one total unit on this, so it's not going to like hurt my bankroll immensely if it loses. But if it hits, which has a good chance, it's gonna skyrocket. Next fight we're betting is Michel Pereira taking on Kyle Daukaus. In this one, I have Michel Pereira to win by KO. I understand he's untrustworthy, but Kyle Daukaus' chin is just not something that I'm in the business of trusting. Now, Michel Pereira in a parlay I contemplated, but I really only think he wins by vicious, brutal KO, and his KO is plus 160. I put 0.8 units on that. Putting Michel Pereira in a parlay, I feel like, is a recipe for disaster. That's never a good decision. I think every time I've parlayed Michel Pereira, he has lost. So we're taking the KO prop plus 160. Next fight we have a bet on is Rongzhu taking on Austin Hubbard. In this one, I think Rongzhu wins by decision. I think he could even have KO upside in this fight. And for those reasons, I'm taking Rongzhu moneyline, 4.2 units in a parlay for minus 250. I have him in 3 different 1.4 unit parlays. I have Rongzhu parlayed with Uran. I have Rongzhu parlayed with 2 guys that I'm going to be discussing later on the card as well. So if Rongzhu loses, my bets might be completely cooked. I'm taking a shot that Rongzhu is my most confident pick on the card, and I think he just dominates. Austin Hubbard takedowns, I don't think it's going to work. Rongzhu just fought a younger Austin Hubbard in Cody Steele, and Cody Steele couldn't get takedowns, so I sincerely doubt Hubbard has a chance to win here. Next fight we have a bet on is Maheshate taking on Gage Young. I think Gage Young wins this by knockout, but the line is way too suspicious, number one. Maheshate is going to have all the size advantages, number two. And number three, Maheshate is just notorious for getting chinned and wobbled. Like the last 3 fights, he's had 5 knockdowns recorded on himself. Gage Young, I think his last 6 or 7 wins have all been by knockout. So with all this being said, Gage Young by knockout, that's an interesting prop. But I think Maheshate has a chance to win. I don't have him picked, but I think fight to not go the distance. That is a good bet. Gage Young is a KO guy. He's not really a decision merchant. And Maheshate is going to bring the fight to Gage Young. So I think someone's going down. I lean that Maheshate will lose. But a Maheshate KO win wouldn't surprise me to the fullest. They're both 25 years old, so they're both very young in the sport. They could be making massive improvements. I'm taking fight doesn't go the distance, 1.2 units, plus 106. Next fight we have a bet on is Taiyilake Nueraji taking on Kiefer Crosby. Now, obviously, the correct pick probably is Taiyilake to win by knockout, but Kiefer Crosby doesn't really lose by knockout. He has 0 knockout losses. The only knockout loss he has is a DQ loss, I believe. So if we're going to go deep into the tank for this, Taiyilake, 10 of his wins are by KO. 1 is by sub. I'm taking Taiyilake sub. Half a unit, plus 550. We're turning a minus 500 into a plus 500. And Kiefer Crosby, notoriously, is not good with the grappling, with the takedowns, with jiu-jitsu. Taiyilake at least has shown some wrinkles to his game recently that makes me think he has good enough grappling to submit a guy like Kiefer Crosby. I think Kiefer Crosby is very live if Nueraji just keeps this standing. So I think Nueraji, his game plan is going to be get the sub. I think he gets it in round 2. I think he entertains a firefight for round 1. And then his coaches are like, listen, just take him down. That's how you win. And then he does that, and then he wins. Next fight we have a bet on is Sumudaerji taking on Kevin Borjas. I have Sumudaerji picked to win by decision. I'm also putting him in a parlay. This is the one I parlayed with Rongzhu as well, 1.4 units. I'm not the most confident in this, okay? When I first saw this, I was very confident. I was like, oh, Sumudaerji, 6 of his 7 losses are by sub. So Kevin Borjas doesn't really have submissions to his game, and this is going to stay standing. Sumudaerji is the longer, rangier, more powerful striker. He should win, but, I mean, he does get wobbled. He does get chinned here and there. Charles Johnson was beating him in the striking. I think Kevin Borjas has a good chance to do that, but I'm sticking with my initial read, which is I think Sumudaerji dominates the striking. Next fight we have a bet on is Sergey Pavlovich taking on Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I have Waldo picked to win. I have him to win by decision, and we're betting both. He's the underdog. 1.2 units on Waldo plus 180. Half unit on Waldo decision plus 470. I just think that ever since Sergey got knocked out by Tom Aspinall, he's been bringing a way different approach to the cage. He had a sparring match with Volkov. He turned into a takedown artist against Jairzinho Rosenstrike. He's not going out there and throwing, caution to the wind like he used to in the past. And I think that's perfect for Waldo. Waldo's a high-volume guy. He's got power of his own. He's shown that he's pretty durable. He's been yet to get finished inside of an MMA octagon. He has good finishes of his own at the UFC and regional level. I think Waldo, even though he's at a 6-inch reach disadvantage, I think Waldo, if he can just not get knocked out in round 1, he is very live to win this because Sergey's output goes down, goes off a cliff as the fight goes on. So if this does not get finished in round 1 by Sergey, Waldo is very live to win, and I bet him. And the last fight we have a bet on is Brian Ortega taking on Aljamain Sterling. I'm surprised this fight is still going on. It's taking place at lightweight. Brian Ortega was actually having supreme issues weighing in. I was tempted to bet Aljo KO plus 800. I might sprinkle that off book, off the bet MMA type stuff. But I'm taking Aljamain Sterling to win. I think this is the freest parlay piece of all time. I thought it was before the weight miss. And now that I see that Brian Ortega looks like complete death, it looks like an even bigger chance to shove Aljo in a parlay. So I parlayed him with Rongzhu. You can get plus money for that. I'm just confident Aljo wins. And the FINZ Hammerlock, my weekly underdog pick. We all know at this point that this is a fade pick, all right? My most confident underdog does not have a good record. I'm pretty sure it's like 24 and 48, if not 49. It's on a 4-week losing streak as well. Just not good. It's just not good, and you should not be tailing it. If anything, you should be fading it. I'm taking Waldo, all right? I was between Long Xiao, Westin Wilson, and Waldo. And Westin Wilson is more of like a meme pick, and Long Xiao, that fight is insanely 50-50. So Waldo Cortes-Acosta it is, man. Plus 180. Just don't get starched in the first round, and he should win. So let's try to cash a lock this week. And I also did a Twitter Spaces with my guy Walker Texas Ranger on Wednesday. We do it every week now. We've done 2 in a row, and we come up with 3 legs that we both like, and we put it in a parlay. And the parlay this week is Uran Satybaldiev moneyline. We both enjoyed him to win. Gage Young moneyline. Looking back at it, I'm not as confident, but I'm sticking with the initial read, Gage Young. And then the over 1.5 in Waldo Sergey. If the over hits, Waldo wins. That's what I think. I mean, Sergey, I guess, has some decision equity. He just won his last fight by decision. But over 1.5, I think, is a pretty good parlay piece. As long as Sergey just doesn't starch him in round 1, we're going to look good. And here's my insane long shot. Didn't give it to you guys last week. I apologize. Here it is this week. It is a cycle. I managed to get 3 legs that could complete a cycle. Michel Pereira KO. I think that's free. Honestly, if that does not hit, cut him from the sport, honestly. Taiyilake Nueraji SUB. That is a long shot prop, of course. But I think if he fights smart, that prop will hit. And then Waldo by decision. I think if Waldo wins, it will be by decision, and I don't think Sergey has looked good. So, yep, plus 10,000, $10 wins $1,000. Let's try to make piles in Shanghai.